So today we are back with another video for the new expansion. We'll be playing the new deck, Mono Blood. It's a evolved deck basically, but since it's Mono Blood, I'm calling it Mono Blood. Obviously one of the most hyped and anticipated decks of the new expansion, I think, even before it started. And now that it's here, we need to see that this deck is very strong. It's one of, if not the top deck in the game right now. So we're gonna be playing it. This is my list that I'm playing. There's a lot of weird. There is like a lot of one-offs in this deck, I guess. We run one-off Harbor Sport Speedster because it's a Machina draw, and then also it's like a fourth copy. I mean, it's a Machina draw you can just play, right? And but because it puts a random Machina card, it doesn't specify followers or doesn't specify that it can't draw itself. We only run one copy because we don't want to draw too many copies of this, because then we have to waste time playing it instead of cards that evolve for free. So we only run one copy. Case cracked because this deck's like 80% of this deck's damage is storm damage, so we need a way to deal with wards, especially opposing Leon and Elfie, since this deck is so popular. So we are running one of Case Cracked, and we run one of Bloody Session just as a board clear and healing. I like having one off in this. You can choose not to run it if you don't want to. And then we are choosing to run Asuka and Shuri as well, just for the card draw, because this card has a lot of things that you need to draw. So we're running one off card draw. The rest is like pretty standard Evo payoffs, so don't really have to go into detail about that. So with that out of the way, let's jump into some games. So our first game, we are going second against Shadow here. Bit of a wild card as to what they're playing. It could be Machina, or it could be some kind of aggro deck. We don't really know. It could even be Helio. But for the mulligan, I'm honestly not too sure what to do. I usually just keep stuff that I can play on turn 1, play early on, because as an Evo deck, your early game is a bit slow. So we'll try to keep cards that you can play early on. Especially valuable are cards like the Bat, which can evolve before your evo turn, so you definitely look out for that. I also want to keep Hypodermic Devil if you do have opened it, because it's such a key card for the deck to function. And other than that, it's mostly just going for tempo and having things, not necessarily tempo, but you want to have things to play early on in the game. So my opponent has Skeleton Dreamer into the Slayer of the Dead, so we do know this is probably an aggro deck. I used the Mono there because I feel like I needed the card draw. Like, Mono is obviously the key card of this deck, but she's a bit bricky in the early game, so I decided to trade her in for a draw here and just assume that I'm gonna draw another copy of Mono, which I just pick up here, so that's fine. We played the Gossip just to clear one follower. Luckily for me, it hit the Kyrie. Opponent pulls down another Kyrie, which is good for me. It's a pretty slow move from them. Now, Asuka and Shuri and the Bat have a good synergy, but unfortunately I didn't have the Bat here, so we can't make use of that. Instead, we're gonna go ahead and evolve Hypodermic Devil, which will help us get the assembly draw every turn, and just go ahead and play the Blooming Dancer to clear their board and also to get our evolve count up. Now, with Leon and Alfie, you always have to decide whether you want to how you want to use Leon and Alfie. You could use them as like mid-game fusion, pay off the get fusion count, or you can use them as a late-game one-cost big and annoying ward. It really depends on the situation in your opponent's deck, I think. Here we're just trying to clear that board while getting evo count. We're gonna go ahead and evolve the Asuka and Shuri here. Pick up the Oceanus to use it to clear. Then chip some damage in. Also, we don't really have a 1 PP card to make use of the gap in our PP right now. I could have played Leon and Alfie instead of the Flowing Mercy there, but I think I want to save it for the ward, because they're playing, as you can see, when it comes to Shadow, they lost Banishment, so a lot of their damage now is from like actual followers that hit you in the face, so having the Leon and Alfie ward is definitely very helpful. Especially with Lubel running around with just 4 PP 13 damage to the face if you're not prepared for it, which you definitely want to try to avoid dying to if you can. So we're gonna go ahead and try to heal out as much as we can here, because, well, we don't want to die. Got another Flowing Mercy which we can use to unseal their board. We go ahead and trade the droid. These both Flowing Mercy can clear this a bet. Use our followers to trade. Then put out a Leon and Alfie here just to protect our face from dying to something. So because of his 35 health and the fact that they can't be destroyed by effects, they can't use this reeling Shadowfly or whatever to clear it, so they should have quite a bit of trouble getting rid past this Leon and Alfie. And if you look at our evos now, we are at 6 evos, which means that with mono, hoverboard speedster, and the 1 assembly drop we're gonna get, and also we have the ruler retribution, we are guaranteed to reach 20 evolves, but they haven't cleared the Leon and Alfie, so I don't even need to go that far. Go ahead and evolve the ruler of retribution here. Use the do blame. We actually have to go for the do blame here because we don't have a way to get rid of our own. We can't get rid of the ruler retribution or the Leon and Alfie here, so we actually have to use the do blame to get enough evos. Make sure you have enough board space for the correct number of evos you need to activate Mono's effect. So that's it for this game. Let's move on to the next. So for our next game, we will be playing against Blood, and we are going second again. Going to be going second today. The Blood mirror is most likely going to be Evo. There is a chance it could be Wrath, but very likely it's Evo. Lyran's Iolan is just a good turn 1 play for this deck, so we always keep it, I think. Whether you keep, I would say you probably only keep 1 copy. I think keeping more than 1 is maybe a bit overboard. But I guess it depends on what you want. We're trying to find the bat here. We can use the bat next turn if we pick up the bat to play with 1 reminder. My opponent does have the bat here, which they're gonna go ahead and play. Gonna evolve the bat. So when playing both as and I guess against Evo Blood, you really want to clear this bat. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to clear this bat, so I guess I can't. So we go ahead and just fuse into the 1 reminder. We don't need this recovery because we're gonna get another copy out of this Ruins of Iolan anyway. So that's fine. Hopefully they don't have a Blooming Dance or anything. That would be quite bad for us. But luckily for me, this turn from them is pretty slow. Usually, well, not usually, sometimes if you leave the bat alive for too long, the bat itself can just run away with the game. So here, since I pick up the Leon and Alfie, my original plan was obviously just to play the bat and then play recovery to evolve the bat so I can trade. But since we pick up the Leon and Alfie here, we'll just go ahead and play the Leon and Alfie instead. And then the heal effect from the 1 reminder will evolve the bat, which will also evolve the Leon and Alfie for us. So it makes something very annoying for our opponent to deal with there. Rune does have the Gadel here, which they'll use to draw. I guess they forgot to fuse first. Played the Great Gossip. Luckily for me, it didn't hit the Leon and Alfie here, so they can't actually clear it, which was pretty lucky for me, I guess. So this was when I was still playing 2-4 Grace. I already cut it from the list because I didn't really feel like it, but at this point I was still playing 2-4 Grace, so we'll go ahead and play it. 2-4 Grace here and the Blooming Dancer as well. Then we trade the 2-4 Grace to leave the ward alive, so they have a lot of followers they have to deal with on their turn here. Opponent plays the Nightmaker, which is something I don't think you should be running. Well, I don't run it at least. I don't think it's good because it's a Machina card, which will get in the way of a Machina draw. We do only run 3 Machina followers and 1 Hover Speedster, I guess, if you count that. Because we want to maximize the chance of drawing the good Machina card, which is the bad Hypodermic Devil, and of course Mono. So for that reason, we do only run the 3 Machina followers. We don't run any extra. So we're gonna go ahead and evolve the Hypodermic Devil here to get the effect going. We go ahead and just evolve the bat as well, just to get the evolve count up. We're at 6 now, so next turn, if we top deck Mono, we can burst them for a ton of damage. Especially with Ruler Retribution also invoking next turn. It actually ends up being lethal, I believe, if I top deck Mono here. So we're gonna see if we top deck Mono. If we do, we can just win. There's our Droid. And there's the Tsukuyomi as well. Then the Ruler comes out. We draw 2 cards here, so hopefully we do pick up the Mono, and we do pick up the Mono, so this is just going to be lethal. So a nice little high roll game here with turn 6 lethal from Mono. It's not the most unrealistic thing to be able to accomplish with this deck, which is very terrifying to say, because turn 6 OTK is something that's probably very hard to deal with for a lot of decks, especially now, still early on in the meta. So that's it for this game. Let's move on to one more game. So for our last game for today, we're going against Rune and we're going second again. Apparently I just didn't have any games going first for some reason, so that's what we're doing today. We're going second. So nothing really good in this hand, so we can go ahead and toss everything. Against Rune, it can be Spell Boost, it can be Machina. I don't really know if there's any other Rune deck. I don't think there is. But we shall see, we shall see. So with nothing to do here, we just go ahead and pop down the one reminder just to draw cards. Actually, we drew Ruler of Retribution, which is very bad. You really don't want to draw Ruler of Retribution. So they played the Hoverboard Speechless, so this is like Machina. Nothing to do here, so we're gonna go ahead and pass. Opponent gonna go ahead and fuse, and then they'll summon two droids here to I guess pressure us. That counts as pressure at all. So we don't really want to take that much damage to face, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use the do blame here just to clear and set a ward to protect ourselves for a little bit. I find that compared to like previous iterations of Evil Blood, this version of Evil Blood doesn't really, well, it does pick package Owlcat more often than previous iterations, even though most of the time you do go for Leoparion at all anyway. They left the do blame alive for us here, so we're just gonna go ahead and use that to evolve our Leon and Elfie. We're gonna save the other one for protecting ourselves because for Tetra's effect, Tetra's spell use damage to random enemies, so only having Leon and Elfie on board can help us soak up the damage, so that's why we're gonna keep it. And we just use Bloody Session to clear. Opponent plays the Tech Wizard for Enhance 5, which will discount all the Machina cards in their hand, which is pretty strong effect. Although it does cost 5, so maybe it's not that good. And we are just gonna go ahead and just draw cards and try to set up our evo count. Unfortunately, my opponent didn't give us a trade target, so we can't evolve the bat here. But we can at least set up the Hypodermic Devil's effect. We're at 4 evos here, which is actually pretty good because we can't kill them next turn either way. So we want to be at, we want to have 4 so that we don't invoke the ruler too early, so that we can invoke the ruler on our actual Ether turn, since we already have one in our hand. We only have one other copy in the deck. So there's the Tetra from my opponent here. Hopefully they don't have Ginger as well if they're playing they are playing Machina, so hopefully they don't have Ginger. Doesn't really seem like they have Ginger, so that's good for me. My opponent's gonna go ahead and heal themselves and the Tetra to full, so now we have to answer the full health Tetra, I guess. So it's the Rocket Bloom, which, and they're fusing more cards. Unclear why, but I guess that's what they're doing. So we're gonna just go ahead and finish off our evil count here, pick up the Oceanus. And then we're gonna go ahead and set up the Leon and Elfie on the board here. It's not impossible that we die next turn, so I'm just gonna set up the Leon and Elfie to be safe. But it's quite unlikely to actually die next turn, but I'm probably gonna kill them the turn after anyway, so I think it's fine to set up the Leon and Elfie here, with the expectation that I'll just kill them after. We have to trade the Leon and Elfie here, which unfortunately makes them a bit less healthy, but I think just having Leon and Elfie on board itself should be fine for helping me not die. Tetra. That's the Tech Wizard, so I'm definitely not dying this turn, so that's good for us. There's the Air from my opponent, which will summon the Tetra. Thankfully they don't have enough spell boost though, so Air doesn't evolve. And then here they choose not to evolve their Air. I think it's most likely because I think they choose not to evolve Air most likely because they want the evil point for Amaryllis, so I think that's why they didn't evolve it here. But definitely if they were just purely thinking about their survival, I think evolving Air here would have increased their chances. Plus it doesn't end up mattering, I think, because I just end up top decking another mono anyway, so I have lethal even through Air, but their best chance of surviving was probably if they didn't evolve the if they did evolve the Air, but they're dead enemies. Yeah, that's it for this game. And that's probably all the games I have for you today, so let's move on to some ending thoughts, I guess. So that's it for this video. Definitely a very strong deck, I think, and also a very popular deck as well, which is interesting, I guess. I think a lot of people were excited for this deck when it came out because Mono's is like a pretty fan favorite character, I think, and she's pretty strong as well. So if you enjoyed this deck, you can definitely go and try it out yourself. If you haven't already, it's one of the strongest decks, so if you're trying to climb ladder, it's also worth building. It's a little bit expensive, I guess. It doesn't actually take that many legendaries now that I'm looking at it like fully. So, yeah, definitely worth playing. I think. It's hard to say if they'll nerf it. Honestly, I'm not so sure they will. But yeah, this is the mono deck. Honestly, personally, even though I do really like mono and I did play mono blood as one of my first decks back in the day, I feel like this version of the deck doesn't really agree with me that much. Like on a personal level, like personally, I'm just not that into how this deck plays. So, yeah, I'm probably not gonna be playing much of this deck after today. But if you want to give it a try, definitely give it a try yourself. And that's it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.